And just in case you didn't know, her hair is a glory unto her. Greetings, everybody, and welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, I'd like to give you a welcome. Make yourself comfortable because today we're going to be getting into this cute half and half hairstyle. So it has stitch braids in the front, and we're going to be doing a sew-in in the back. So as you can see here, I'm just parting her hair from ear to ear just to separate the two sections. One section will be for the braids, and the other section will be for the sewing in the back. So now that I separated that, I'm going in and I'm just going to go ahead and put some braids in the back of her head. This part is for the sew-in. It doesn't have to be perfect. The parts doesn't have to be that neat. You just want to make sure you have a nice and secure braid. This client just recently had a silk press, so we are going straight in with this style on top of the silk press. So her hair is very silky right now, and you may see a little product build up on the hair, but don't be alarmed. Like I said, she just had a silk press. Again, in the back, it doesn't have to be too neat. You just want to make sure it's nice and secure. So once I got all of my braids in, I did use that drop and pit method. And as you can see, I'm also using a needle thread just to sew up the back and make sure everything is nice and secure for the sew-in portion of the style. So now I'm going to go in with the hair, and she's using the Empire brand by Sensational. I believe this is a deep wave, very pretty curl. Yeah, I'm just getting it on the camera. Don't mind. Did y'all see that? She is very excited. I am too. And you all are about to get a cameo from my youngest son, Bless. He's showing off his little drawing here. But back to the hair. So I like to start right around the ear when I start sewing my tracks, and then going back and forth in a horseshoe shape. So when people sew, some people like to go under the weft or through the weft. I'm a through the weft person. As you can see, I was about to go under, but I like to make sure that the needle goes directly through. I feel like it's a little bit more snug and secure that way, in my opinion. You can try it either way, but you just want to make sure that everything is nice and secure. Not secure to the point where your client is in pain, okay? Don't forget that. Don't sew it so tight that they can't even think straight, because you already just braided it. Now you're going to sew her thoughts up too. But moving along in that horseshoe shape. Okay, and I'm using a large curved needle to, again, pierce through the wefts of the tracks. I do like to double my tracks. You can do it single, but I like to use two wefts put together. And I take the needle and I just pierce it through both of the wefts. I hold them together. And as you can see, I just flipped over that weft, or those wefts. You see it's two of them. I flipped over those wefts, and I'm going to come back in the same direction that I went. Okay, so moving on up, as you can see, I've been keeping that same horseshoe shape. You're just going to go back and forth from left to right. If you want to use a net, you can use a net. These are just basics, I would say. I always like to tell people when I teach that you can go on and also try different things. If you want to try a different braid pattern, sewing technique, go for it, and then you can see what works out better for you. This is just what I like to do, or this will be my technique, and I'm just sharing it with you all. So again, I'm using the fold over method. I didn't cut the tracks. If you want to, you can. Sometimes it's faster to not even cut the tracks. If you can get the hang of just flipping over that weft and making sure it's secure right at the fold, then you'll do well. So we're coming closer up to the top of the head. And this part in the back can also be done with glue. If you're a quick weave type of person, do all the normal procedures to protect your hair, and you can glue these on. So now I'm just zooming in so you all can get a close-up of what I did. At this point, I flipped over the track, and at that fold, I'm gonna sew 2 or 3 times just to make sure that it's secure before I continue to sew the rest of the track. So remember that horseshoe shape that we talked about earlier? Well, guess what? We're still doing it. And it's getting smaller though. You see, I'm still keeping that same pattern, going around the horseshoe And I'm just folding the tracks over until I get it about an inch, if not even that. So now I'm going to take these last few pieces of track. You don't have to double this part. You can single it. Okay, and I'm just taking that needle and thread and I'm going to sew straight across. You see it? I'm sewing it straight across. Now that that's all done, we're going to move on to the stitch braid portion of the style. So of course, y'all know I like to use my Shine and Jam. So I'm just applying that product. Don't be afraid to use the product. Okay, that's a pro tip when it comes to doing stitch braids. For me, make sure you apply a good amount of the product and make sure the hair is nice and smooth when you are about to start the braid. So now I'm going in, adding those stitch braids. And I like to stitch with my pointer and my thumb finger. Find out what tools or what finger helps you stitch the best and go with that. I also like to feed the hair in with my pointer and my thumb finger. So if you feel like I'm moving too fast, forgive me. I do have a more detailed video of how I do stitch braids on my channel. So just go back and you can find that. And if you didn't subscribe yet, make sure that you go ahead and take a few seconds to go subscribe so you won't forget. And then you're going to be trying to remember, what was that page? I saw that cute hairstyle, or the lady was giving me the information on how to do, you know. So go ahead, subscribe. And we definitely appreciate everyone who has subscribed thus far and everyone who's been tuning in and watching our videos. It really means a lot to us, all the support. All right, so now that I'm in the middle, I'm going to do a crisscross braid in the middle. So that's why I parted it halfway. That's the key to doing the crisscross braid. It's not even that hard. All right. So you want to stop your stitch braid about halfway back on both sides. And then you just crisscross them and continue to braid on. It's super easy. And again, when it comes to styling, practicing and doing it over and over and over is what makes it perfect. Okay. So give yourself some grace, it'll get better. So she wanted to add beads on with her style. So now I'm just going in. I didn't have a beader, so I just folded the end of the braid over and I slid the beads on one by one. Now I'm folding the end of the braid over the bead and I'm going to add my rubber band. So for the rubber band, I like to just stretch it. I'm trying to explain this. It's hard. You see how fast I'm about to move? I'd like to stretch it between, I guess, my pointer and the finger next to that, or 3 fingers it look like. And I just keep stretching and wrapping and stretching and wrapping and stretching and wrapping around until it gets really tight. Then I'm going to go in and clip off that extra piece of hair that may have been hanging out and slide all your beads down. So it's really basic on how you put beads on. But that rubber band trick will get you through the style. I'm telling you, if you got to style with beads and you move like that with the rubber bands, you be gone. So moving on to the baby hair. She wanted it pretty dramatic. And I'm using the flat irons to give it the curly texture. And doing this, just like I said, just makes it a little bit more uniform. It's already, set up in a sense. It already gives it that curl that you look for when you're doing the dramatic baby hairs. So I just added on some edge booster. And once I got them to my liking, I just topped her off with a little holding spray. And look, this is the final result. All right, so where I'm from right now, it's starting to get a little warm. This is like the perfect spring hairstyle, like, I don't know, vacation, photo shoot. I mean, it seems like it can fit pretty much any occasion. Super cute and at the same time pretty unique, and guess what? Very low maintenance. All you got to do pretty much is wake up, shake, and go with this style. So I really hope you all were able to get some type of information or some type of inspiration, some type of idea from this video. We hope you continue to enjoy, and we'll see you in the next video. Peace be.